Hi, Mary. I'm going to present to you my final presentation here of generations at work. The primary information that we're going to be looking at comes from the surveys that I conducted throughout the semester. It's just an overview where the information come from and how I went about conducting my survey. So the way that I formulated my questions came based on the research from the scholarly sources that I used and also from my interviews. That was the basis for the questions and answers that I came to. So I put a lot of thought and a lot of research into how I formulated my questions and how I conducted it. Went on SurveyMonkey, really user-friendly app, posted it to my Facebook page, and received over 30 responses in a short amount of time. So it was a very quick and efficient process and a good app to use to go about using a survey. So the first question I asked was, what do you think is the most commonly applied negative stereotype of Generation Y and Generation Z workers? And not quite half, but a majority, 13 out of the 31 people thought that they lacked motivation. 8 of the 31 felt that this generation was self-centered. And then 5 felt that none of these three stereotypes apply. And 4 people, the least amount selected, felt that poor communication skills was a big negative stereotype of Generation Y and Z workers, which actually, that response kind of disagreed or differed from some of the research that I found. Most people felt, at least the scholarly sources felt, poor communication skills was actually something that held Generation Y and Generation Z back in the workplace. Moving on to my next chart here, we're going to look at the values of the baby boomer generation. This was the most conclusive data that I got out of my survey. 18 of the 31 respondents felt that the baby boomer generation has a hard-working value. The next closest was only 8 respondents said that they felt they're conservative, not politically speaking, just that they don't take risks. They're pretty not big risk takers in the way they go about their work. Then the least amount, we had 4 and 2 respondents apiece. 4 respondents for strong relationship builders, and only 2 felt that they were good at communication. And moving on to the final survey that I conducted here, generational discrimination. So I gave them 4 options to choose from: the baby boomers, Generation X, Y, and Z, for what generation they felt experiences the most discrimination at work. And Generation Z, 13 out of the 31 respondents, they felt Generation Z experienced the most. The next closest was baby boomers, coming in with 7 responses, and then Generation Y and Generation X only were taking 3 apiece. And 5 people felt no generational discrimination exists. So that concludes my research and this presentation on the surveys that I conducted. Thank you.